Thoughts are gone, thoughts don't care. Ghosts in my head, thoughts that tear. F941239 branded on my file before I was 5 years clear. They all said the same shit. Better not tell, kid, it'll get way worse in here. Even the real kids whispering threats while their parents steer. Born in a folder, no crib, just a case number and a hearing date. Pills crushed in my juice, respiratory waves turning toddlers into a court case. F943 anxiety, F90.0 separation ink they used to label me. Now those same codes turned into calibers, letters load the AR-15. 5156 for the panic attacks, 9 for the snakes, 223 for the mess they made. Leave me alone! Mrs. Perfect Christian home, still feel your husband's hands on my neck. Leave me alone, night shift worker, keys rattling while you're proud of heart. Leave me alone, caseworker with the crocodile tears. You got paid while I starved through it all. Starved through it all. We the invisibles, aged out the system. No feelings left, just facts and mathematics. Hypervigilant, heart rate, flat rifle, fluent, pistol, fully automatic. Grown now, pulling up, packing. Only lesson we kept is right from wrong. Now wrong, getting corrected. 30-round hymns in a real dark song. You built a monster, setting trauma, now the monster got drums and a mask. Every face got a name got an address. Every address getting dead. Ever one fresh meat, still crying for mama. Think reunification real. Level 2, bounce like trash. Learning roles in every house they make you feel. Level 3, chameleon bag, never unpacked. Visible just enough to eat. Level gray, master read a lie in the blink. Route around rules in the street. Level 5, invisible state. On ghost file too thick for any worker to read. Sleeping fragments, exits mapped. Made it out so low they know you a different breed. We the invisibles, age out the system. No feelings left, just facts and mathematics. Hypervigilant, heart rate flat, rifle fluent, pistol fully automatic. Grown now, pulling up, packing. Only lesson we kept is right from wrong. Now wrong, getting corrected. 30-round hymns in a real dark song. F94 through a 5 pop 6. F93 to a full auto switch. F94 to reactive, that's why the AR twitch. 9 millis for the snakes that smile in your face. 223s for the nights they said this hurts me more, while they finish the chase. Every code they wrote, every caliber, every lobby came around. Every better not tell turned into a reason. We outside right now. Seen kids get walked out the back at 3 a.m. Staff pockets fat, no sound. One phone call, file closed, another invisible. Never found. They pray we don't D-lock forever or read the barrel in despair. But the ones who survive remember every smell, every room, every stare. Thoughts are gone, thoughts aren't care. Ghost in my head, thoughts that tear. We're the invisible. Age down, fully loaded. No fear, strapped heavy, heart on zero. Just a pulse and a plan. Right from wrong is all we know. And wrong finna meet the whole fam. Pulling up quiet, windows down. 30-round lullaby. Invoice for every tear. Every touch, every read, better not tell. This is the correction. Pred's gone dead. 2, 2, 3, good night. calls it the reckoning. Blount County started it. Blount County started it. Kentucky doubled down. Gunner and Sharon are finishing it. Shadows where the black bears roam. They kicked in Gunner's door trying to steal his home. No war and no crime, just badges and a grin. But they forgot one thing, mountain men don't bend. He looked him in the eyes and said, you just signed your fate. You touched my blood, now feel the reckoning's weight.
In the Smokies roar,
in Kentucky weep.
Hey! This is the reckoning. Gunner Evers calls it down.
Blount County burning to the ground. Kentucky CPS on their knees tonight. Retaliation thieves gonna lose this fight.
The reckoning is here.
Wake up, America. Draw near. For every stolen child, for every mother's tear. The reckoning is here. Stood like stone when Kentucky crossed the line. Took her babies for revenge, thought they'd break her spine. But every tear she cried turned into molten steel.
Molten steel.
Forged a blade called justice that no court can conceal. From Maryville to Frankfurt, the corrupt began to run. They woke the sleeping giant and the reckoning begun. Now 1 million parents marched with torches in their hands, from the hollers to the cities across these stolen lands. Gunner's voice on the podcast was the battle horn blast. Every episode another nail in the empire's casket. He named the day, he named the hour, he named the final stand. He called it the reckoning. Now it's sweeping the land. This is not politics.
This is not left wing.
This is not left or right.
It's not left or right.
This is the line in the dirt where parents say, not one more child tonight.
Gunner Evers drew it.
Sharon Evers holds it.
America crosses it together.
When the last courthouse falls and the last black robe burns, when the last caseworker flees and the last stolen child returns, we'll raise a monument on the ashes of their throne, carved in Tennessee granite with these words alone. Here died tyranny at the hands of a dad and mom. The reckoning came, 2020 seats the storm.
This is the reckoning. Gunner Evers spoken loud. Blount County in ruins. Kentucky in a shroud. CPS is finished. Hear the death knell ring. Every stolen child coming home on angel wings.
The reckoning is here. America, no more fear. Gunner, Sharon, your name's forever. The reckoning is now, and it's eternal.
The reckoning, the reckoning, the reckoning.
Mommy and
Hey, look. This for every mama got her baby snatched on some bogus shit. For every pops they locked out the crib like he ain't blood. CPS, y'all been eating off pain for too long. We know what you on. But now it's war, this gun and foe. CPS. Kick doors, no warrants, they taking our seeds. Say it's neglect, but they planting they greed. Feds in they pocket, judge got a fee. Run it like a business, adoption spree. Contracts overseas, got partners in France. But shorty from Shy, he ain't get a chance. Mama work 2 jobs, daddy do right, but they still snatch his baby in the middle of the night. Fuck CPS, they ain't saving shit. Just a system full of snakes getting rich off kids. We see through the cap, we done taken the hit. Now it's Suffer Davis popping and we loaded the clip. Gunna got the case, now we in that fight. Taking this to SCOTUS, shining that light. They ruined good homes, now we flipping that script. Time to bring them back, time to empty the clip. They labeled us monsters, called us unfit, but it's they paperwork dirty, all of it forged and flipped. How the fuck they selling babies to a bidder overseas? Then tell the fam you unworthy. Man, please, we got mamas in pain, daddies in tears. They breaking our hearts, been doing it for years. Now we riding with Gunner, and we got the proof. Sworn under oath, now it's time for truth. Trump got the team and the pen in his hand. He said bring them home, now that's the plan. You feds been hiding, but it's over now. We moving like an army, and we ain't bowing down. Fuck CPS, they ain't saving shit. Just a system full of snakes getting rich off kids. We see through the cap, we done taken the hit. Now it's Suffer Davis popping and we loaded the clip. Gunna got the case, now we in that fight. Taking this to SCOTUS, shining that light. They ruined good homes, now we flipping that script. Time to bring them back, time to empty the clip. They ain't gods, they ain't law, they just people. Corrupt people. And when the people rise, ain't no system safe. The Chi-Town, it's the movement. We gunning for CPS, and we coming heavy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wait.
I'm gonna pull the whole thing down. I'm gonna bring the whole fucking diseased, corrupt temple down on your head. It's gotta be biblical.
Good evening and welcome to a special edition of Gunning for CPS. I am your host, Gunner. And who are we going to piss off today with our knowledge and information to take and make sure that you're not taken advantage of by CPS or the family court system, the corruption that is massive. This special edition, matter of fact, we'll put it up here in the corner. Special report tonight, guys. That's right. We've got an extra special edition. That's right. We've done a lot of talking. We've done a lot of homework. We've done a lot of filing. But officially, the new federal case has been filed. It was filed last week. But we had to do some services. One of some of the things that you have to fill out some of your paperwork and everything else. But when you do certain things, especially something like this, you have to make sure you're doing notifications. A lot's been going on in our world. So we'll catch you up with a few things. One, yes, I am an independent freelance journalist with IFPO. Once again, international. They are recognized credentials worldwide. So we are covered under the First Amendment and freedom of the press. I know you guys have been watching some things with another journalist and how they're trying to shut up people like me, people like Nick Shirley, people like others that are out there to make sure that the information and the facts and the truth does not come out. This is what they don't want. They don't want you educated. They don't want you free. They want you under your thumb. Well, we've got some things that are just going to really mess them up. That they're just not going to get around. And so what we have done, just so you guys are catching on some things, and we'll get into our show and we'll cover a lot of things as we usually do. But yes, I have filed myself in the federal court, in the constitutional section of the federal court, a constitutional question, and we've covered this once before, and we're going to go over it again a little bit here as we go through the show, is Article 3, Section 2, Clause 2. Yes, we have posed the actual question on whether or not it is constitutional, legal, to the federal courts. This has been served, the letters have been served, that I was telling you about earlier, to both the Attorney General of the state of Tennessee and the U.S. Attorney General on a constitutional question. Now, this is something you can go to the courts to and say, hey, under constitutional questions and under constitutional questions doctrine, these are multiple things and layers that you can use. I have a question. And this, where we're doing whatever in the case and everything else, needs to stop. Okay, now you got to put in there like a motion to leave. Due to the constitutional question, you have to notify the court of the constitutional questions, and you put it under the constitutional questions doctrine if you're in the lower court. That means you've recognized something in the lower court, family court, this, whatever it may be, civil, whatever. I have a constitutional question, and it needs to be answered. That is then sent up the ladder. You do that with a motion, usually to leave, stay, however you want to draft it for your case. But this is the motion of saying, hey, I have a question, and this needs to stop before this goes any farther. And so we have asked a hardcore question, and we'll go over in detail. Excuse me, the throat's a little dry. Lovely spring weather. Allergies are fun stuff. Whether or not it is legal for CPS to drag you into any state courtroom. Now, I'm specifically dealing with Tennessee. Well, everybody says, well, it'll just affect Tennessee. No. This is a constitutional question. So if it applies for one state, it applies for all 50 states. All of you out there that are watching, pay attention. This is not a joke. Yes, it would be, we're going to the federal court to ask the question whether or not it's legal that CPS, as a state entity, can legally bring you into a state courtroom without violating the U.S. Constitution, Article 3, Section 2, Clause 2. This question has not been asked that we can find before, ever, in the history of this with CPS. Now, a lot of times people have brought up things like that. They say, oh, well, they signed with us, they contracted with us. That is not the case in my personal case. Mine, even the CPS worker admitted to the forgery of writing my name, signing my name to a contract or a piece of something. I never signed anything with the state. I am not under any contractual obligation, which is the only way a state can interact with you. I did not contract with CPS. I did not contract with the court. I did not anything. I was there to clear. And once again, this comes back. That's why the federal lawsuit had changed from what we were going after to now we're looking at intricate fraud. Not just this, we're talking fraud from the very beginning because of the actions of state actors. Big difference there. So you got to go in with angle. Number one, to do something like that, one, you have to show or document what was broken, what constitutional right was broken, this is that, and there has to be damages. Somebody was injured. Yes, I was severely injured from this on many different levels. And the funny part is they're only going to get to see, and I'm going to tip my hand here a little bit just for funs and shits and giggles. I'm only going to tip my hand so much in paperwork, but wait till we get to testimony. Then I'm going to blow your mind. Sorry, the allergy is killing me. Oh, some of that lime water. But we're going to get started a little bit here and show you guys. We've got corruption going on all over the place. We've got cover up. We've got Stuff that's not even supposed to go on, the Epstein files. This is still in the news. Of course it's still in the news. Why? Because it's pertinent. Come on, guys. So let's get started here. Let's share a couple of these things here and get you guys going. And this guy is always funny. I always take and we talk about legalese, and this is terminology or a different thing to confuse you in court. Listen to this one, and I love this guy. If you don't go follow him, he's hilarious when it comes to the stuff that he does, how he exposes how stupid legalese is instead of using common language. But check this one out.
Say you're nasty, legalese. Your conduct is indefensible. Your conduct is indefensible. How to say you're nasty.
I love the guy. I mean, I'm sorry. I love the way he portrays it. I love the way he does it. And I love the way he explains it because it just makes sense. Now, moving on, as we go through this, and we're going to cover quite a few things here this evening. One, let's get into the Epstein. How does the world see us outside? Being an international freelance journalist, I've always asked the question, hey, how are we perceived in other countries? Well, I found this video and a buddy of mine, he says, here, man, watch this. This is pretty much just head on. This is the news. This is how it's being reported. And if we get so high and mighty and everything else, like, we're this type of country when we're really not, because of the elected and appointed officials and actors that we have that are doing the things that they have been doing and still doing today. And let me give you a couple examples, but here's a short little video on how other people, and this is a report, this is a news report from another country. Check this out. This will blow your mind.
Epstein files are out, millions of pages, thousands of videos in order from Congress. And what have we learned? Well, Democrats accused the Attorney General of a cover-up. The Attorney General calls a senior congressman a washed-up loser lawyer. Victims sit in the room watching their accusers' names blacked out, while their own names, their photographs, their suffering are leaked to the public. Welcome to accountability, Western style. For years, the Western elites, the Western men, have stood on what they call the moral high ground. They lecture other countries on human rights, on fair courts, on the worth of every person. They send diplomats to lecture former colonies about the rule of law, as if that law were a custom-made suit only for a rich man. Now, let me be clear. This is not about one man. It is about what Julie K. Brown, the reporter who broke the story in the first place, said with painful honesty. Nearly every element of society allowed him to get away with it. Not one element, every element. Let's walk through the Museum of Western Hypocrisy. In 2007, federal prosecutors had 82 pages of documents to charge him. Victims as young as 14 years old. They had the evidence. What happened next was not a failure. It was a choice, a secret deal, negotiated in private, kept from the victim for nearly a year. When the government finally wrote to these victims, it told them the case was still under investigation. A federal judge caught this and, I quote, actively misleading them. Now, Alex Acosta, the prosecutor who signed the deal, sat for an interview with the Justice Department's internal investigators. His defense? He couldn't remember. Didn't recall the financial records, didn't recall the flight logs. Now, years later, his testimony to Congress was so full of, I don't remember. That word memory became his legal excuse. This is the system that lectures the world on fair and independent courts. But courts were only the first domino. Let us talk about the gentleman, the European gentleman. I'm not just talking about the businesses and the finance circles who made the bulk of the Epstein guest list, but in academia as well. Scholars who fill university offices. According to documents released this month and reported by Nature, Epstein kept a list of nearly 30 well-known scientists. He invested millions. At Harvard, he gave $6.5 million to start the research program. He kept an office there. A virus expert at Stanford asked Epstein to pay for a study on college students' sexual behavior to test, and I quote, our horny virus idea. A physics professor facing investigation into his own misconduct received an email from Epstein telling him to say no comment to the press. This is not just selling influence. This is intellectuals bound down. Men who trade in fame and respect traded it for a check from a convicted sex offender. And the banks? Deutsche Bank moved millions of dollars for Epstein. They flagged him as high risk. They kept him anyway. Wire transfers, cash withdrawals, payments to people accused of helping him. New York's financial regulator called it inexcusable. The bank paid $150 million to settle the case. And let me translate that. $150 million is not punishment. It is simply the price they paid to make the problem go away. And now we arrive at the truly interesting part. The Epstein files have become a political punching bag. The Trump camp makes it about the Clintons. The Democrats make it about the Republicans. The Attorney General accuses the Committee of drama, and the committee accuses the Attorney General of running a cover-up. Meanwhile, the law Congress passes clearly states that names cannot be blacked out just to avoid embarrassment, harm to reputation, or political discomfort. So, how did the Department of Justice manage to black out the powerful and expose the victims? So here's the uncomfortable truth the West does not want to face. The Epstein archive is not just one file on one criminal. It is a CT scan of the whole system. The courts, the banks, the politicians, even some academic institutions. Not evil in some movie sense, silent partners in real world sense. Silent through doing nothing, through convenient forgetfulness, through the quiet belief that some men are too powerful to ever be brought down. And yet these same institutions continue to grade the rest of the world on human rights, continue to issue report cards on judicial reform, continue to act as if they're the world's moral judge. The lease on that high ground has run out. Now this month on the live television, when a victim had to watch her abuser's name being blacked out while her own name staying in plain sight. The Western elites wanted to be judged by their good intentions. Unfortunately for them, the Epstein files contained only the facts.
There it is, guys. Right now, we look like a joke. We took the moral high ground. We're supposed to be other things come out. We're a Christian nation. We're this, we're that. All those things. No. Doesn't look like it now. Why? Because the laundry's been aired. Now, here's one thing that's different than any other country that we have is we don't have a democracy. We have a constitutional republic. This is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about filing what I filed that will affect the entire nation to get the courts to answer. Because if CPS can't run to a court or a state court, it has to go to a federal court. According to what the Constitution said, that's what's supposed to happen. They're cut off because then they have to meet the federal standard, including getting a warrant to enter your house. Because here's the thing, I would, from my investigation, 98% of the cases CPS has taken on would be thrown out of a federal courtroom and laughed, and sanctions dropped on every single one of them. But did you hear what he was talking about? Judges are involved in this. Epstein, this, where do you think they get the kids from? And now we're strengthening our borders, a lot of the other things, this, that, why. And it's cutting back on child trafficking because the perspective of a lot of the uppers is it's just foreign kids or kids that are here illegally that are being trafficked. And that's not true. It's American citizens, children, American children, citizens, we the people. And they're breaking that, and they're destroying the family. They're destroying the heritage. Now, I know you guys, and I'm going to quote this because I know there's a lot of political, it's an election year coming around. So we've got a lot of people that are running, and we really have to watch because there's power in some of the vote. And there's another case, like we told you before, that we're looking on, and I have to follow up with this week, where the federal elections, when you went electronic, the electronic voting, did you know that none of those are legal? They're all void. All federal elections that were done electronically are void. They're not legal. That's what's in the courts right now. Why? Because the Constitution only approved 2 and Congress never approved anymore a paper written ballot or an actual mechanical manual machine. Those are the only 2. So when they went electronic, they actually broke the law. Those votes don't count. That means your electoral commissions within your states and everything in all 50 states have failed. Does that mean that that will affect local or state? Depends on your state. You got to look and see how it is. But that means everybody or anybody, that includes senators, congressmen, the president, all of those, even all the way back to I believe the way that they trace it back with the electronic. I think that goes back even to the Obama era, means that they have never served in every single one of their executive orders. Everything Congress had passed during those times, those people aren't legal to sit there. Whoa. Yeah. We're returning back to the Constitution, whether you like it or not, and voices are being heard because of people like you that are out here watching the show, spreading the information. Now, there's been a lot of downfall and a lot of play with a lot of dirt, people being exposed, this and that, and that happens with anything. But even within this movement of standing up against CPS and the family court system and everything else, I dare you to come after me, because everybody that has tried has been fucking destroyed. Why? It was a frame job. Now they're going after people like Nick Shirley. If you guys are watching, I don't know if you guys keep up with all that, but Nick Shirley is a younger freelance reporter, exposed the fraud in Minnesota. Now he's in California. And California wants to pass a bill that they have nicknamed the Nick Shirley Act to prevent journalists like myself or anybody else in exposing fraud, especially in the state of California, making it a criminal act, which is a clear violation of the First Amendment. So it has a huge consequence. But the fact that they would even bring this up, it's not even supposed to be on the floor anywhere, let alone California. Why? Because it violates the Constitution. This is how radical the states have become to forget their original contract. And even within every state, all 50 states' constitutions specifically acknowledges the supremacy clause of the U.S. Constitution. Now, that's one of the things we're going for. Like I said, in our Constitution question, we'll cover it. But I want to share with this. This is Nick Shirley's interview before CPAC. And he talks about what they're trying to do to people like myself, independent freelance journalists that are going around and just exposing this stuff, doing the work that big media won't do. And it's not like, I don't know what Nick Shirley's background is or what his pay is or how he obtains some of the funds he does to do what he does. Not sure. I don't get paid a damn dime. Okay. This is to educate you guys, keep you guys in the know-how, this and that. But check out this with Nick Shirley. And it's on YouTube. You guys can find it on YouTube, watch it. But I want you to listen to what goes on. Now going back to that last video, did you hear about the Epstein stuff that they were talking about and talking about the horny virus? Did you catch that? Did you catch the horny virus, the study of the horny virus, something that they had already released? They wanted to study it now. Did you catch that? No wonder everybody in America is so over-sexualized, or all of a sudden you've got divorce rate through the damn roof and all these other things. Why? Because they're injecting people with all these horny viruses to where nobody wants to. That's why they've destroyed the family. They've done it by its biological warfare. Between that and the food and everything else. Did you catch it though? We want to check on the college students. Why? That means they've been giving it to them for a while, this virus that's going around. Now we want to study it. Why? Because we've released it. Did you miss that? I didn't. Maybe that explains why everybody's, a lot of people have been acting stupider than hell. Got such a problem, and then lock you down once you got that virus in there. Hey, let's stimulate it. And I wonder what that study showed. I think maybe that had something to do with the, jabby jab. Let's lock y'all down and jack y'all up. Ooh, did you miss that? What if that's where all of a sudden divorce rate went through the roof? Go figure it out. I mean, this is, people say, well, that's conspiracy. It's just basic math. Add it up. But anyway, check this out. This is the speech for, and I want you to pay attention to this because this affects both you and me on how we're getting our information, on how they want to stop this, and on independent journalists. And, they're the ones making the difference in informing people. Mainstream media, they're lucky to play catch up, or you don't even hear from them. But nobody trusts them. But watch this.
I'm super excited to be here and to be able to speak to you guys today. And I'm not here to speak on behalf of Republicans nor Democrats. I'm here to speak on behalf of we the people. I think nowadays we can all agree that we all just want to live the American dream and have the best life possible. However, it feels that sometimes, actually a lot of times, non-controversial issues are becoming controversial inside of America. For instance, if you take a look at the idea of deporting illegal migrants, that word is illegal. That should not be controversial. Or the idea that showing your ID to vote has become controversial. That's not controversial either. The idea that fraud is bad has become controversial. How is that controversial? I know a little bit about fraud. I know a little bit about Minnesota daycares as well. And it's crazy to think that we live in a world where somebody who exposes fraud can then be painted as the bad man from the politicians where he exposed the fraud. Shouldn't they be excited to know that the fraud is being exposed, because that's not a Republican dollar or a Democrat dollar, it's actually our dollars. I've never gotten a dollar bill that says right or red or blue or right or left. We all live inside of the same country, and we should all want the best for our country. And when you see fraud inside of our country taking place at literally rampant levels, for instance, in Minnesota, there were programs like autism where you have 10,000% increases in the budget for autism. And this money then goes into the hands of fraudsters. How does somebody not look at that and say, there's a 10,000% increase in the budget for autism? Is there a 10,000% increase in autistic children inside of our neighborhoods? And if the answer is no, how are they justifying a 10,000% increase in the budget? And in other instances, like California, where you have a 1,000% increase in hospices, is everyone going to die in LA? I don't think so. So the idea that here inside the United States, when we have these non-controversial issues that become controversial, it puts us into a weird culture war where it puts people into a position to think, okay, well, wait, how are you supporting this when you're actually not benefiting we the people? We all live inside of the United States. We're not supposed to be, when elected officials elected, they're not supposed to represent 50% of the population. They're supposed to represent 100% of the population. In an instance where fraud is taking place inside our country, each and every single person should want to crack down on that fraud. Because if we don't, these people can continue just to literally steal our dollars. And they steal our dollars, and then they send it overseas, and once it's overseas, we can't ever get that money back. And that's something that I've learned as I've gone about exposing this fraud. And a lot of times, these people that are taking our tax dollars are foreigners who are not even from the United States of America, and they're stealing our money. And it's just been so crazy to see how in all 50 states there is fraud. However, it seems to be that most of the fraud is in a lot of these blue cities. And when you go out and expose the fraud, I mean, I think Gavin Newsom, he posted a photo of me the other day and had 10 cameras on me, an AI-generated image saying, "Where are the kids?" trying to depict me as a pervert for exposing fraud. How sick does the governor have to be to say that the kid exposing the fraud is the bad person versus the fraudsters that are stealing the money?
Okay, guys, did you hear what he said? If you listen really, really carefully, he said Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, twisted him up to call him a pervert. Posting, pictures and all this other, because we're about to, it had nothing to do with that. Once again, it's twisted. Something very similar in my own case. Once again, I was crying the whole time. This is unconstitutional. This is illegal. Fourth Amendment violation, forgery, courts not, doing anything, all this other stuff. Well, guess what? Well, now we're going to frame you. We're going to smear your name. There's no criminal charges whatsoever. It's a smear campaign to discredit you and basically destroy you. Is the concept, how dare you? Had nothing to do with it, let alone keeping witnesses out of the courtroom. Literally, the judge in the appeal case, the first one was before the magistrate, didn't allow it either. But no witness, hey, they're required to do this. Why? They broke the rules of evidence. Then the second judge, as you guys know, once again, I shared the same magistrate and judge, the Jessica Saxon. If you guys know who Jessica Saxon is, she's from the same county and state that she had a lot of her corruption and everything, where she started out and where her court case began. This is how corrupt it is. Now, if you follow Blount County, Tennessee, you can go out there and you can find tons of stories about Dalton, about Diane Lashsmith. Diane Lashsmith. It was a magistrate from this county that literally her son was under federal investigation for child pornography, and actually went in there, was tipped off by a judge. It's in the documents. Jessica talks about, I think she did one on there. Kenlyn Foster notified Lashsmith, hey, this, the heat's coming down on you, this, that. And so she went in there and started to leave stuff. But Kenlyn Foster's still on the damn bench. That's a damn felony. Interfering with a federal investigation? That's a felony charge. Why is she on the bench? Whose strings is pulling who? This is how corrupt we're talking, how bad it is. And then when she went to the federal process, Lashsmith did, came back to Blount County and got a slap on the wrist. Dalton, teacher, jumped around to schools for almost 20 years, or, what was it, 18 years or something like that, something crazy. Close to 100 kids, I guess, come forward, but he only stood trial for, I think, like 20 of them. 6 months probation. 6 months probation for a teacher touching children. Several reports. It's like all the pedos got into government services, and not just pedos. I will think one professor I took, or not professor, but a doctor person, I believe, that just got their doctorate in sex crimes and everything else. And so she goes around and she teaches both domestically and internationally, educating people on what these people are, what's broken their brain, those type of things. Of influence and teaching and how this happens and all this other stuff. This is not something that people learn. You know what I'm saying? They just don't magically one day and go, hey, I'm going to turn around and do this to a kid. No, somebody's had to show them that, demonstrate it. So you have another offender that's just spreading. But once again, if they're in and out in 6 months, or like last was, whenever she gets out this, and then her kid gets out, whatever. And then and here's the other joke I think that's funny is sometimes, and I've talked to several people, is when they turn around and they call them chomos in the prison system. And a lot of people say, hey, if they're in general pop, and they'll tell them, they'll say, hey, man, don't put that chomo in here. Why? Because we'll beat the hell out of them or we'll kill them. And that's what they do. So now a lot of institutions, jails, whatever you want, prisons, have got a chomo wing. Why? Why are they getting special treatment? They should be out in Gen Pop and let them survive. That's where, where it is. I mean, if that's kind of like the system taking care of itself, you're still keeping these people alive that are convicted, like tons of evidence on them, let alone, crazy stuff. These are people, go through the process, whatever. But I mean, there's some that they're just guilty as hell. And the other thing that you'll notice is most of them, a percentage of them, talking a little bit through there and going through some of this research, when somebody does this type of stuff to children, when they're caught, a largest majority of them tuck their head down like, oh, I finally been caught. And they're just weak. And you see them like you see it all over social media where people that go out and hunt these people that prey on children, and they, have set them up, online or this or that. And they're always the same thing. There's always this weird person and they just cower or they run. I mean, that's the pattern. There's very few that's that sick. I mean, there are some. Yeah, I did it, whatever. And those are the ones that are pushing for that, what do you call it? MAP, minor attracted person crap. And it's horseshit. And the problem is it's not just the offenders. It's the court systems that will not punish them. And you know why they end up in somebody, I remember when they went through Dalton's, thing. So, well, we'll just give them a slap on the wrist because it was, seemed like a, buddy, Bob's your uncle type thing. And all of Blount County, Tennessee is seeing it. But they, is that, well, the biggest complaint that the local DA said, well, these are the rules the state have. And I don't think they're reading between the lines on this, because I think most people have a little common sense. So, well, hell, if you put them in damn Gen Pop, they're either going to get the hell beat out of them, other things are going to happen to them, or they're just going to get, snuffed, rubbed, and not in a good way. I mean, they're gone. They're going to kill them. That's what a lot of lawmakers are thinking is happening, but it's not. And this is where the lawmakers need to step up and go, people that do this stuff, you need to give them, forget this other stuff. You need to put mandatories and make them serve time and quit fucking cutting deals with these things. This is our kids. But see, when the truth comes out with all this stuff, and especially in cases like mine, and I know a lot of other cases, you guys that I've talked to, corruption. I shouldn't be there. My kids are terrorized. What the hell? So, and that's where it comes down to. But if you listen to Nick Shirley, this is what these pieces of crap do. These elected, appointed officials and actors is they smear you, and they call you the worst thing they can think of. But when the truth comes out of it, it's like, why are you doing that? That's the lowest thing you can go. Why? Because you got caught for fraud. Same thing in my case. I mean, can you, and same thing, this is why we're asking that constitutional question from the federal court. Why? Fraud. Massive fraud for decades. Not just here in the state of Tennessee, across the United States. Why? Because if you're not supposed to be hearing those cases, you don't have jurisdiction, which they're saying they do, and they won't even, they'll bowl right over you. They don't care about your constitutional. Hey, I've screamed the whole thing. Enter my house with no warrant. Fruit from a poisonous tree. They didn't want to hear that. Didn't care. Both cases before both of those people that, Jessica and I both have, roll over you. Brought up the forgery. Then you dealt with perjury. And then you go to the local law enforcement and the district attorney's office. Hell, you reach out to all these other people. You know what they do? They brush it under the rug. Well, guess what? I got the receipts. I saved the emails. I've got everything. All of it. Where you just wouldn't. And several other things. And witnesses, the whole damn 9 yards. I came with receipts. But now, see that? I'll try and get this to pull up here for you guys, and we'll take a look at it. see if it'll do this here. Sometimes it pops up, sometimes it doesn't. Nope, it did not do it for us. Sorry, guys. Let me see if I can bring this up a different way. You just have to bear with me for a second. I do apologize. Like I said, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, that's not going to work either. Damn it. Okay. So let me try one other thing. And you just bear with me here, folks. Let me see if this will. What the? Nope, I'm in the wrong one. Let me see. Oh. Well, I guess it's just not going to work for me tonight, but I guess I'll read it off to you. You guys can see it on, believe it or not, you can actually find this document on my Facebook page. It was posted, I believe, last week, during the week here. You just scroll through my history. You can find it. And we'll read it here. And this is the format. This is notification letter that was sent to the Tennessee Attorney General and also to the Attorney General. A lot of people say, oh, it ain't going to do that. I said, it's not meant to do nothing. This is a notice. This is nothing more than I'm notifying you. I have filed a constitutional question. The federal court has it. And we're going to get a judgment. We're going to get that. And it may be so serious with these. Let me explain something to you guys. There are some that if they are complicated or complex with a constitutional question, it will generally be answered, sometimes not by your judge, but usually by the chief, what's called the Chief Justice. This is also the same and the true for your state. So the Chief Justice, which is right now John Roberts, very conservative, very constitutional from my research, and they don't play with this stuff. And they come down and they come down hard. But it comes down to this. It says, notice of constitutional question pursuant to Federal Rules of Civil Procedures, Procedure 5.1. Pursuant to Rule 5.1 of the Rules of Federal Procedure, the plaintiff, myself, appearing pro se, hereby provides notice that the above captioned action draws into question the constitutionality of Tennessee state statutes and the jurisdictional authority of the state administrative agencies when acting as a party in interest. In other words, on the court paperwork, it says Tennessee Department of Children's Services versus me, for example. That's a huge problem. Why? They're a state agency. They are a representative of the state. They are the state. When they come in with the state's authority. Government authority. This goes the same thing. This is where the question comes. This is a problem. It's a huge problem, guys. You need to pay attention. If you have an open or closed case, you need to be doing you need to be doing things. If you have the same question in your case, you would file it under constitutional questions doctrine in the lower court. I have a question. And then with that would be a motion to leave, and it was be a motion to leave or stay, whatever terminology you want to use, to answer the constitutional question. Now that question goes from the lower court and is escalated, and it can go back and forth between the Attorney General and I believe the Chief Justice, depending on your state. Every state's different. Once again, do your research because every state has a unique way of doing this. But what it takes and does is it asks the question. Now, if it's something they've already dealt with before, then that's fine. But if not, then you can push those offices. Or in my case, I'm not going to wait on you. I'm going to go straight to the court myself, federal court. Why? Because they're the only one that has jurisdiction to answer the question. The state's supposed to file. But a lot of times they'll hide it because they know they're in deep shit. So don't get discouraged if you file that and then all of a sudden, oh, well, we did this. Okay, then you ask the question. You go back with the constitutional question because you can go back and forth on this and going, did you file in 1983 under constitutional questions in the federal courtroom and publish the judge's decision? Why? You don't have jurisdiction to make a decision on constitutional matters of federal nature or U.S. Constitution. You don't have jurisdiction. You can't answer it. This is required to be done federally. So it forces the state to file a 1983. Now, can they answer questions about the state constitution? Yes. The Chief Justice and the Attorney General, between those two offices, yes, they should be able to interpret what their state constitution says. Now, in my particular case, they also violated the state's constitution because, one, they didn't want to cross-examine it, but two, they tried to use a criminal code in a civil courtroom with no criminal convictions or anything else. And then they screwed it up on top of it because they ended up doing like this whole section instead of subsection. They didn't even list it on the final draft. So they're saying that A through F or A through G or whatever in that section happened. Well, that's kind of impossible. Hey, what do you mean, Gunner? Because it talked about this and it talked about that. And the requirements, when you have a conviction of that, and then you go back and look at the requirements. Well, a doctor was supposed to testify. Did they? No. A psychiatrist or psychologist was supposed to testify. Did they? No. Okay, you have stuff in here for manufacturing and this and drugs and the drug tests for, kids were tested positive for drugs. And stuff. Was any evidence entered for that? No, because it never happened. There was nothing to do with drugs whatsoever in the case. But it's how they screwed up the whole paperwork in Blount County. Why? Because Tammy Harrington didn't write it. And she's going to look at that as a scapegoat. Well, the CPS person, I had them right. So let me ask you something. Why isn't that showing extreme bias and crossing the line? Why are you writing the final orders for a judge or magistrate? Oops. Gotcha. When you did that, and even though she proofread it or he proofread it, whatever it may be, and they signed it, watch this on your documentation because it will say a lot of time, prepared by, oh, we got a problem. That's not your job. That's what you have a court clerk, the court's, the judge's assistant or whatever it may be, and this and that, to issue those in there, read them over, and then sign them because it comes from that official office. But when CPS is the plaintiff, their attorney writes it, they've now committed a crime because now they're imitating a judge. Well, I documented it as being prepared. You're right, but it's not your job to write up the decision. It's the judges or the magistrates. Once again, they're trying to play all these roles and not stay in their box of their lane according to their job description. Gotcha. Gotcha. You're done. Now, going back to this. Constitution, so there's that section, there's the part of the notice. Then we go into the constitutional provision at issue. This action challenges the application of state law under the following constitutional mandates. You're going to love this because you guys need to start asking this, and you guys need to be spreading the word out there. Listen, go watch this video that Gunner's got. You got an open case, closed case. I know you guys are part of Family Forward, or you're part of this CPS group, this DCS group, whatever it may be in the Senate. You need to watch this video. Why? Because this is the meat and potatoes, and you need to be filing this something similar if you feel it's happened to you. I'm going to walk you through this. This is the federal level, but you can go under constitutional questions doctrine, even in your own, and ask the same thing. Why? Because I filed it. I filed, something very similar. You can't do that. And then I give them notice of this. Why? Now it's federal. But let's get into this. Action challenges the application of the state laws under the following constitutional mandates. Article 3, Section 2, Clause 2 of the U.S. Constitution. Plaintiff asserts that because the state of Tennessee is a party to the underlying controversy, the federal judiciary maintains original jurisdiction. In other words, we're supposed to be in federal court, not the lower family court garbage that CPS has been doing. It's illegal. And the state's court's assumption of jurisdiction constitute a structural defect. In other words, well, this is the way we've always done it. It don't matter. That means you've been practicing it illegal. That means, well, who does this get, Gunner? Not just CPS, DCS, or whatever you want to call it in your state, the cabinet, it doesn't matter. This holds every judge and magistrate across the country on this decision liable and criminally prosecutable. Yes, this is the case you all have been waiting for. Why? Because this question here can terminate CPS. Why? Well, Gunnar, how are you going to do it? This or that? No, it means from the ground, from the highest person running the damn program, all the way down, and every judge and magistrate that has ever had a court for however period of time. When you don't contract with them, they drag you in there, they do all this other crap. Guess what? You can't. You didn't have jurisdiction to hear it. What does that make it? Null and void. Your case. What does this mean if this goes through? You simply file it, quote the case number. Hey, we've got a decision saying this, and you did the same thing in my state. Now I can press charges again. Yeah, we're looking at tearing the system down, guys. That's what this show's been about, abolishment. Well, guess what? It's going to be abolished. Jeremy, good to see you, man. I haven't seen you in a while. You've caught us. We're dealing with constitutional doctrine questions, filing those at the state level, and then a constitutional question, or constitutional questions doctrine is what it's called. But then when you go to the federal court under 1983, you can ask the federal court a constitutional question, whether it's legal or not legal. Well, I have just recently filed my new federal case under massive fraud, but I had to notify the state of Tennessee's Attorney General and the U.S. Attorney General that I have a constitutional questions that they need to be paying attention to, because this is criminal activity, and it falls under, if you guys want to look at it, Article 3, Section 2, Clause 2. And what that particular section does, guys, just, I'm going to catch Jeremy up and any of those other guys, anybody else that's catching up, is saying that any court case where the state is a party, like CPS, the state of Children and Family Services and all this other stuff, and they're going to the lower courts, Article 3, Section 2, Clause 2 says that any case where the state is a party, the federal courts have jurisdiction. They've been breaking the law, and we're getting ready to abolish. So now it's before the federal courts. The state's been properly notified, because you have to meet all the criteria we're going through. And if they get this answer back, which we know what they're real strong what their answer is going to be, because it's very clear. Now we're looking at shutting down CPS and abolishing CPS across the nation, and holding every judge, magistrate, and every CPS worker, investigator, supervisor. It doesn't matter. You're all now criminals. Because now you've done what? In every case that you've been into, fraud upon the court. Not just that, when you received any of that Social Security money, or you took the kids and then you put them in foster care, or you did this, you did that, guess what? Now you just added another criminal charge, Social Security fraud, defrauding the federal government. Oh yeah, it's getting ready to go down. We're done. So let's go on. And it comes through and it says the Section 2, and this is the stuff that was filed, and what we're covering here is the letters that was sent to the state attorney general and to the U.S. Attorney's Office, as required by law. When you file a federal case like this, it's filed, it's on the record, and it's done. So there's nothing they can do about it. Now we sit back and wait for the answer. And if they give us the answer we know that we're going to get, yeah, it's done. CPS is done. All the kids come home. Well, it's a perspective, Jeremy. Once again, you guys got to understand too. A lot of these things and everything else, we're going in, and I'm going in, and as you'll notice if you watch the show, it says pro se. I'm actually pro se sui juris. I'm going in as representing in this federal court as we the people, as a member of we the people. I'm not a bar attorney. I don't get paid to do any of this. This is on behalf of we the people under the Constitution. It's a whole different ball game, people, in that courtroom. And yes, it will go on the record immediately. This is not attorney versus attorney thing. When we go into this federal courtroom, it's a member of we the people versus the government, the state government. It's a whole different story. I don't have to have a bar card. I don't have to have this. I'm going in as us, you and me. I'm going there to represent all of us. Constitutional rights have been violated. Children have been stolen, and they've made a profit of it. Now we got RICO. Now we got racketeering. Now we got it. Just the ball. It's a snowball effect. But upon the investigation, like we said, nobody's gone through and asked this question pertaining to CPS. Not in this form, not even close in this format, let alone using this section of the Constitution of saying, if I'm in there with CPS and I'm over here in the family court system or the civil court, this, that, they're saying they have jurisdiction. According to the Constitution, it says any case where the state's a party, it has to go federal. Why are you hearing these cases? Well, it's our business. No, that's not what it says. You're colluding. You need to turn around and explain, like I'm a 5-year-old. Is the state a party listed here and here? Yes, it is. Did I contract with the state, giving them that power or relinquish that power? No, I did not. I never signed a damn thing. Now you're screwed. That's why, because you got to have that unique circumstance. Okay, guys, when you do this stuff, a unique circumstance to meet the threshold or the record to ask the certain questions, to do the certain things. In other words, you can't do it off of, you got to have something that has been done to you to where you can bring these topics up. If it's not happened to you, then it's not part of this is how they injured me type section when you're going into a civil court. Because why? Somebody has to be hurt or damaged. And once again, and a law or the Constitution. That now this gets past all that bullshit with Rooker versus Feldman. It gets past the Younger doctrine. Why? Because it was filed under intricate and massive fraud. Yeah, it's a different perspective, but once again, and I'm glad you pointed that out, Jeremy, because yeah, a lot of people haven't looked at it like that as fraud, which also we filed under the False Claims Act and whistleblower. Yeah, well, here's the thing. Do you have any lawyers in here? The court may assign one or sit there, but they're going to sit there. But do I need it? I'm not going in there as a lawyer versus lawyer. Once again, I'm in a federal constitutional courtroom. Under the Constitution, I'm allowed to bring my petitions before the court, my grievances and everything else to correct those things under the First Amendment. Make our petitions known. That's what this is. I'm going in asking the questions. Yeah, there's some delicate things through here and there, but that's not just that. That's just the tip of the iceberg in my particular case. So it goes on and on and on and on. And the amount of evidence and everything else we have, oh, it's bad. It's real bad. And it's full exposure. It puts the state on bright light. You're screwed. And it's filed. It's done. You're in trouble. And legalese, let me tell you how to get out of legalese if you're in a federal courtroom and you're pro se suit jurors. Your Honor, I just want to clarify one thing, Your Honor. Yes. Is this a constitutional courtroom? I'm glad you asked that, Jeremy, and this is how this is going to be addressed. Yes, it is. Is it not true that the Constitution is common law? Yes, it is. Okay. Your Honor, I would like to make a motion before the court that legalese is thrown out of this courtroom, since this is a common law, common language courtroom and a constitutional courtroom by law. Uh-oh. I just put me and that attorney or attorneys as the defendants on the same page as me. You don't get to play the legalese game. I have now notified the court and informed the judge, or clarified for the court, will say, you can't do this. Why? We're not in your state statute and code courtroom. That shit don't work here. And the court's been notified it's not going to be tolerated. Now the judge is going to watch it. Oh, yeah. I turned the tables. Now the judge is going to be on the watch out for the legalese bullshit and go, all I have to do is catch you, Your Honor, legalese. This is a common courtroom. We have to talk like normal people here. You have to break it down. Why? So the jury can understand it and everybody else can understand it in plain English, common language. Your hands are tied, Mr. Attorney. Gotcha. And I can legally force the issue. Why? Because I'm pro se sui juris and it's a common law courtroom, because it's a federal courtroom, and because it's a constitutional courtroom, because the Constitution is common law. Therefore, the court must reflect that. Now you got trouble. Now we're on the same page. You can play legalese all you want, but court's going to warn you. I guarantee you, judge will get you. Because if the judge doesn't, or there's a problem with that, and then I go to review it, or somebody else reviews it and goes, they're using legalese. Well, guess what? There it is. Well, I understand that, but believe it or not, yeah, I'm actually allowed a computer or anything else I need for ADA or anything else in there. But understand this, the Constitution is not negotiable. It's an absolute document. Case law can give opinions, but the interpretation is clear as a bell. It was written in common law language, and the words that are in Article 3, Section 2, Clause 2 says all cases, not some. So those statutes and codes and everything else, we're not in that thing. We're here to deal with constitutional issues, federal issues. Listen, and that is, Jeremy, that is the fear a lot of people have. I get into the federal, and yes, the people are so used to dealing with state courtrooms and statutes and codes and this, and why? Because they've been in that fight and they're doing this, and then they get up to the federal court and then they lose their mind. Oh, it's not the same as that. No, it's not. They're two different creatures. And there's a different set of rules. Like I said, and that's why we were trying to go through, as we go through our federal case, to explain, hey, listen, man, you've got to serve people. You've got to make sure you're notifying people, the right offices and everything. When you do this stuff, you got to make sure when you file your stuff that you've got to fill out certain forms like AO, 488, I think it is. And then another one for, FM something, right? Anyway, it's for the U.S. Marshals. And it's when they serve all the defendants. And then you've got another one that you have to fill out of it's like a cover sheet for when they're served, what they're serving and, how they're serving. Well, here's the complaint and here's the exhibits. Here's, all this stuff. And then the court clerk puts all that stuff together, but you've got to do your due diligence and fill all this stuff out. Now, yes, we're going to have it served by the U.S. Marshals. Well, and like I said, attorneys have computers in the courtroom. This is well known. I mean, some of them read from a tablet instead of a piece of paper. A lot of those other things. Well, it's not a common law defense. It's not. You have to acknowledge and get the court to recognize it is a common law. Go look up the Constitution is common. This is why states can't make decisions on the Constitution, because it's not a common law courtroom. It's not. That's why they say, well, we can't deal with those issues here. You're right. You don't have jurisdiction and you're not a common law court. That's why states confuse everybody with this. No, when I go into a federal courtroom, for constitutional issues, this and that. It has to be. It must. It's required to be. It can't deal with statute codes. This is that. It has to deal with things at the common level. Why? You're in a constitutional courtroom. To deal with the Constitution that is written in common law, they have to act or adjudicate properly with those restrictions. That's the way it goes. Let's move on here a little bit. And I love the questions, Jeremy. You guys, if you guys got other questions for this, man, put them up there because these are some great questions. Number 2, the 4th, 9th, and 14th Amendment. Plaintiff challenges the constitutionality of Tennessee's statutory scheme regarding the Immediate Protection Acts, the IPAs, and the warrantless entry. So we're dealing with multiple questionable things here that happened in my case. Warrantless entries as applied by the Department of Children and Department of Children's Services, DCS, asserting these policies violate the supreme law of the land. And when I say that, when they're talking about, well, how are you going to do that? It's in their damn paperwork. I've got their damn handbook, and it says it right in there, plain as day. The state has given away the rights to CPS or DCS to illegally enter your home with no warrant and question you on private property or your children. Yeah, they're that dumb. They're that bold. They're that flagrant. So now, here, Your Honor, here's where it says it right here. They're trained. They're using state and federal tax money to violate constitutional rights to steal children. This is how they've been trafficking children and stealing them from families all over the U.S. It's all right here in black and white. Your Honor, here's all the evidence. It's been filed. And there's cross-references to everything where you can connect the dots in the paperwork when you file. Why? You got to have a syllabus. You got to have a syllabus for this and a syllabus for that. For your exhibits, you got to have a syllabus for your memorandums of law and all these other things are there. You have to have a syllabus of what's in there and the pages and how it a cross-reference sheet and all this other stuff. Federal court's a whole different creature, guys. Well, let's get back into this other thing, and then Roman numeral 2. And like I said, this is posted up on my Facebook page, so you guys can see this for yourself and read through it. Plaintiff, nature of the challenge. Plaintiff alleges that the defendants have operated under the color of law framework that bypasses the constitutional requirements of due process and original jurisdiction. You're caught. Specifically, the plaintiff calls into question the validity of state courts hearing cases where the state is an active party, creating an inherent and extreme bias in violation of Article 3. Whoa. You've been called out. The systematic practice of using unconstitutional administrative policies to override the established common law protections of the family unit. That's referring to the Constitution itself as being a common law document. It's even in my filings to differentiate between the two so nobody gets confused. I'm fully aware of what I'm dealing with. The problem is they got around it, and Jeremy, you'll appreciate this because I know you're an educator that you've come off of. The worst thing in the world that you could ever do is find someone that is intelligent, able to read, comprehend, process very complex situations. Now, I'm a master electrician. I've held several things, a lot of things in the trades. They're extremely complex. Turn me loose on something else even new, and I can adapt to it very, very fast. They messed with the wrong people, and there are several others in the trades that I am mentoring on how to make that conversion over to the legal side of things. Because here's the thing, even with being a master electrician and a former small business owner in the United States, we were mandated to learn contract law, which is civil law. both state and federally. Why? Because if I took on any jobs that were state, once again, if it was a state job or this, that, I had to go to federal court. So I had to learn that. If I had basic people like, Tom, Dick, or Harry from the neighborhood, I had to go to the local court. Why? It had jurisdiction. So you got to understand jurisdiction. You got to do this. They cover all this stuff. It's mandatory for us. So now what are you left with? Now I've adapted that to what I'm doing, done my research, done my code book. My code book is basically their statute, codes, policies, procedures, this, that. I had a code book. But you know what a code book is? A code book is a set of rules of bare minimums of safety guidelines to follow. But how you apply the code, the National Electric Code, for example, you have to learn how to apply that code to what you're doing for the job. So it has real world, like I have a certain situation. Well, I need to make sure I hit all the codes and make sure that we're not going to get flagged on something. So let's do it this particular way to make sure we meet the code. And we look at it I looked at it always from the extreme, which is the way usually master electricians take a look at things, is from extreme situations. Because a lot of people look at it and go, oh, well, here, the code just says this is bare minimum. Yeah, but you're not taking into account you live up in Michigan or this and that, where the temperature gets like cold as hell. So now we have to deal with water, and then we have to deal with freezing temperatures. I'm not going to have that same freezing problem in Florida. Arizona, some of those other things to say. I'm not going to have to deal with, crazy stuff like that. Yeah, it does get cold, but once again, Arizona, you're not dealing with the moisture issue. And then this is why, you have local codes and stuff like that. Why? Because it has to apply to the area that you're working in. Well, now what are some of the things you got to worry about in Florida that I ain't going to have to deal with up in, say, Michigan, Illinois, Wisconsin, some of those other states up north? Or, stuff like that. Salt water. What's Florida got? Water all around it, beachfront, everything else. What? Atlantic Ocean on this side and the Gulf of America on the other side. Y'all better look at salt water and what salt water does to damage seals and this and that. I have to treat it differently. The same practice goes when you deal with this legal stuff. And I know some people really struggle with this, but for a guy like me, it's a complex problem. I just learned to adapt it to things I understood and run it by parallels. And once that lined up, it just bam, 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 bam. Okay, this is easy. And so I learned a lot about that. And I've taken several years to do this and worked with many people over the years. Good, bad, ugly, it doesn't matter how you feel. I mean, I've worked with Malibu, Dallas. I've worked with, tried to deal with a federal attorney, and that was a freaking joke. Got a lawsuit against that guy. It was a joke. And then he ended up sending the case off to another attorney without the permission. So he violated attorney-client privilege, all sorts of, it's just been a mess dealing with this stuff. Then we went on, worked with a few others. I've joined like this, started doing this show, the CPS Punisher Network. CPS Breaking News Network, I should say. The CPS Punisher, it's spun off to that. Now it's CPS Breaking News. It has its own channel. You can check out the website, so on and so forth. I've worked with Connie Reguli. I spoke with Connie Reguli on things, especially being here in Tennessee. She does a lot of the Family Forward movement. I can't even tell you. Jessica Saxton, if you guys know Jessica Saxton, she does, I think it's justicewithoutlimitsnow.org. Spin off of that from the Tanoa Downing. I think she's doing her own thing now, I believe. So she's doing an independent thing that's going there. Once again, the familiarity with what they have. Jessica and I had the same magistrate and judge. So there's a lot of information shared of evidence for this and this and that, what she has, what I have, this and that. And because like I said, it's a team effort. And when you guys start teaming up with locals that have had the same judges, the same magistrates you have, this is where you team up and you start sharing information. You start doing what's called networking. One of the things I learned in business, especially small business, was how to network. And a lot of people say, well, Gunnar, what's networking? Networking's real simple. I may not know how to do something or want to do with something, but I know a guy. That's how you get somebody I trust that if I had to do it, they have some of the very similar things to do it right the first time. They're a little bit over. Blount County. Yes, Tom, Blount County, Tennessee. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going down, but yeah, when you network is you have someone say, hey, I need a guy for air conditioning, man, boom, I got you, man. I got a guy, just call him up, he'll take care of you. Just understand this, it's done right the first time. Don't, not a whole lot of question with this and that, boom, I got you. Plumber, man, yeah, I got you. I got a couple of them. Matter of fact, I go back and forth between 2 or 3 of them. Hey, I need a guy for septic. Okay, yeah, I got a guy that. What do you need? Do you need the septic field installed? Do you need the septic pumped? Those type of things. Framers, remodelers, roofers. That was always the thing with networking is somebody would always call me up and turn around and say, oh, hey, Gunnar, I need something, or I need a guy for this and that. And we would do the same thing. We would network all over the place. Hey, I need a marketing guy. Hey, I need a computer guy. I need this, I need that. And not always did you have it, but you always kept in your back pocket. Like, I really don't have a need for a guy that's like a personal trainer or, something like of those sorts that I knew, but I knew people. I was like, yeah, I kind of know a guy if that's what you want to get into, or I know a girl, or, this and that. Yeah, actually, Tom, they, as long as they had success with what you're trying to achieve, the court filings are pretty customized. Yeah. Well, once again, this is one thing when you deal with cases, and I try to expect, because a lot of people say, hey, I need advice. I need this. I need that. Well, I need you to do this and that. Man, that's for advocates. I'm not an advocate. I'm an educator. There's a huge difference. What works for your case or something that works is not a one size fits all when it comes down to cases with family court, CPS, DCS, those type of things, so on and so forth, whether they're criminal or this or that. That's a huge thing. But right now, with everything going on, and if you're in Blount County, Tennessee, which I think you are, Tom, the what's going on with Diane Lashmitz, with Dalton, with the board, with stuff. There's stuff going on with the sheriff, a lot of other stuff with a lot of talk with the district attorney's office, so on and so forth. Well, this is the one case they didn't want to get out. They wanted to stop. But once again, they got to the point they just couldn't come after me anymore. There couldn't anything else. And like I said, there's cameras. It's all uploaded constantly. It's in a web thing, they are a cloud that they can't get to, and then it's set off and it's mirrored somewhere else. I had some really good, as being a former business owner. Yeah. And once again, that's a constitutional thing too. Gag orders, are they legal? No, they're against your First Amendment. They cannot. Once again, you have the right, but once again, now you want to really take and mess them up, Tom, go get listed as a journalist. Now you got a huge First Amendment. Now you can't shut me up. That was one of the things as we were going through this. I am a member of the IFPO, and I'm an independent international freelance journalist. It's recognized all over the world with my credentials. We are listed on their site, the whole 9 yards. So there's the other layer of protection of have a nice day, because now you can't shut me up, because I've known so many people that they get hit with, oh, well, we got a gag order, or you can't this, or you can't that. Oh, no, here's my press credentials and you can kiss my ass, because it's not going to happen. Why? That's a First Amendment violation. As soon as you take and trying to enforce that, you're going to jail. Why? Because you cannot suppress the press. That is very well known. And so that really takes in, and we've been educating a lot of people to do that too. We encourage you, especially with IFPO, it's international. Great credentials. Yes, I can apply for credentials to get into the White House, literally from that site, because it does have special clearances and everything else that they can do and get you. Once you get cleared, you get on the list. You can get cleared is one thing. Getting on the list to get in there, that's a whole different story. But it'll get you in the governor's mansion. It'll get you here. And again, once again, those press credentials, there's a lot of power in the press, guys. A whole lot of press power with the press. But I wanted to read that stuff to you guys, like I said, of notifying this and what a difference it's going to make. And if you guys have not seen what we're doing here and what we've been about and the struggles that, I've been through to get to this point, to finally just take and just IFPO, just Google www.ifpo.com. I think it is. It's press credentials. Go right in there, man. You do everything online, pay for it. They get you your certificates. They get you a whole little thing. They send you a press badge. You can get stuff for your car. I mean, the whole nine. It's legit. It's 100% legit. And yes, you're listed on their website. So somebody goes, wow, those are fake, or you made those up. Go to the website and look me up. Go to the website and look me up. Why? Because you can Google, like I said, you can take and do it. Yep, you got it, Tom. And that'll really screw them up. But blowing the whistle on everything in Blount County, let alone with the Article 3, Section 2, Clause 2 of saying these family courts, especially with CPS or DCS, bringing these cases to these family courts and to the civil courts or whatever it is, and saying we have jurisdiction to hear this case. No, they do not. The U.S. Constitution in that section right there says, and we're going to reiterate, we're going to repeat, any case where the state is a party or they're mentioned, which if you look at all those, it's going to say, the Kentucky Cabinet of Children's Services, this is that, versus you, the Tennessee Department of Children and Family Services versus you, Illinois Department of Children, DCFS, or their subcontractors, because some of them have subcontractors. They're still a representative of the state. We got to be in federal court because that's what it says. And that is not what a lot of people want to hear. And like I said, they don't want you to know this. You know what I'm saying? They don't want you to hear this stuff. They don't want you to hear anything about it. Okay, they're just going to flip out. They're going to go, oh, well, you can't do that. You can't. Yeah, you can. These are the powers you have, and once you come in. Okay, once you come in with the power of we the people to the courtroom, it's completely different from that. I'm pro se in a state thing. Yeah, the legalese thing is just going to eat you up 90% of the time. I'm just telling you right away. It's huge. And I'm going to show you here. And like I said, we're going to go through this, and I'm going to share this last section once again. This is Congress. This is the Constitution at congress.gov that I'm getting ready to share this. I'm going to show it to you so you understand. So, Gunnar, we don't believe it. Well, here, I'm going to show you the proof. And this is it sucks to be you. Why? Because this hurts. Here it is, guys. Oh, let's make this larger. What do you got? And I hope you guys, let me see if I can. Okay, let me see if I can't. I think that'll work. Let's read it together, guys. In all cases affecting ambassadors, other public ministers and consuls, hold on, and those in which a state shall be a party, defendant, or plaintiff, the Supreme Court shall have original jurisdiction. The case is over, guys. It's right there in black and white. In all the other cases, now these are these are the things specific Specific, it says they have original jurisdiction. And all the other cases mentioned before mentioned, the Supreme Court shall have the appellate jurisdiction, both as to law and fact, with the exception under such regulations as Congress shall make. Congress has never changed this. It's never been ratified. It's never saying, here's some exceptions. Otherwise, you would see it right there in that same article. It doesn't exist. So when they claim, well, Your Honor, you got article this and that the state shall have such power, Your Honor, it's very clear. It says all in plain English where the state's a party. It even says it has appellate power, that it stays with the federal. We got a serious problem. So, Jeremy, to answer your question, right there it is in black and white. We just showed it to you guys. There's no ifs, ands, or buts to this. We pretty much know where it's going to land and where that decision is going to come back. Will that affect all 50 states? Absolutely. With a decision like that, it will not just be divisional. Why? Because it's a constitutional question answered. It affects all 50 states. So that would mean your family, when CPS is in the family court or in the civil court, and all those cases they've ever had like that are null and void. And yes, you can go after them. And yes, you can go get your kids and bring them home when that passed. Why? You show up with this. Here's the decision. Here's my case. Guess what? There you are as a party. And the federal court just decided null and void. Give me my kids back now. You bring feds with you. U.S. Marshals. Why? Call U.S. Marshals. Hey, I need help enforcing a federal court order. They'll come in. You'll hand them here's the evidence. This, that. You're still going to have to do your due diligence and file in the appellate courts or in the state courts and say, here you go. And in the lower courts, you got to notify all of them. This case is now null and void. You just tell them right away, void ab initio under Rule 60. Here's the case. You never had jurisdiction, and it's already been decided in a federal court. Then you go after them, what? In the federal court, cite the case law or the federal decision, and you sue the hell out of them, and you can go after them for fraud if they took Title IV money or this, that. Now you're looking at fraud. Why? Because they committed fraud on the court when CPS or DCS, whatever it may be, actually filed something in the lower court, and then they used local law enforcement and everything else to do it. Oh, yeah, it's going to turn this country upside down. We told you we were going for abolishment, and now it's been sent downrange. Your days of destroying the family, the days of kidnapping our children are now numbered across this nation. It has officially been filed. And no, there's not ever been a filing like this. Yes, it's very unique, as Jeremy has pointed out, that it's very, this is groundbreaking. This is not a joke. This is something that says we're done. It means all cases would terminate immediately. You'd walk in the courtroom, Your Honor, you don't have jurisdiction. What do you mean you don't have jurisdiction? Your Honor, here's the case law. We're done. Give my kids back. Unless you're going to federal court. If not, you got federal kidnapping charges on you now. Oh, yeah, CPS and all those caseworkers and everybody else will be, if you wish to charge those criminal charges, conspiracy to federal kidnapping. That is a good possibility that all that will take place, but you got to file the right paperwork and everything else. Yes, we are going to take our country back. We are done with living under this totalitarianism, under this tyranny. And this is the way that now we have the federal courts. What does it mean when they won't comply with that, Gunner? Yeah, you better read the Declaration of Independence, because it says it, now that you've pointed out and it's on the record, you now are able to use any means necessary to get them to comply and or surrender. Yes, the President of the United States will be made aware of this decision, because yes, it would be the possibility of, yes, this would trigger martial law to take everybody into custody across the United States with this decision. It is not a joke. Yes, we know the ramifications. You want to come at me? Come at me. You came after me and mine. And I guaranteed you one thing, I wouldn't stop till you were abolished. And I'll burn this damn shit down because I don't care. And once again, I'm Gen X. And now you've woken up Gen X. Not just me. There's a whole mess of us. And this is what you didn't want. You didn't want Gen X to stand up. We wanted to be left alone. We just wanted to live our lives. We just wanted to have some peace. We just wanted to go about our things in this. But you came in with younger, uneducated, and ignorant people to attack us. But you mess with the wrong generation, because now you're going to see Gen X step up, and we don't give a shit. We will burn this damn thing down to the ground and rebuild it if we have to. We're the generation of fuck around and find out. And you think it's just me? Oh, I got a little rumor for you, because I've already known people, multiple people in several other states, and they're getting ready to do the same thing and file the same thing and flood the federal courts with the same damn question in every state. We're here to end this. Good luck, because the word is spreading, and now this show's out. You guys can share this show. Share this damn show from Facebook. Share it from YouTube. It'll come up, this and that. Put that out there on your social medias all over the place. Go watch this video. It's getting ready to change our country. It's not a joke. The questions, once they come back with the answer, we read what it said. There ain't any argument they can have. None. Your Honor, it's there in black and white, and it has not changed. So it still reads the same. It's still effective. No statute code or anything else. What? Contrary to the Constitution. There's your answer, Jeremy. Any statute, code, policy, or procedure, anything like that is contrary to the Constitution per the Supremacy Clause of the United States Constitution is null and void. Done. Judges heard these cases, even from a decade ago. Criminals. Lawyers. CPS lawyers, CPS workers, supervisors, investigators, anybody that participate in that. Criminals. You will be arrested. Matter of fact, because you violated that and the done with children, what is that called for judges and magistrates, those that took oaths? Oh, yeah, treason. Huh. What do you think about that? What did Carl Miller say? Y'all ever follow Carl Miller? Go look him up on YouTube. You'll love him. Great constitutionalist. Simple, you committed treason. It said that you're to be brought before the most recent magistrate, charged accordingly, then a military tribunal, and upon conviction. Matter of fact, especially for judges and magistrates, it comes out even before that, even before the military. I mean, some of the military tribunal things to go through, but Carl Miller made it real simple. Once you're to be brought before the magistrate, had a trial before this and that, and once you're found guilty, you're to be hung on the outside of town for so many days with a sign over there and everything else. No, you're to be publicly executed by hanging. That's what the Constitution says. We're going to keep it constitutional. Do they need to take and be that? If they are found guilty of treason, abso-freaking-lutely. Every single one of them executed for treason against our country. Our Constitution is clear, and it's time that we nut up or shut up, because we're a damn joke to anybody else after Epstein. Well, guess what? We can clean that up real quick. What happens then? Everybody gets their kids back, and all of a sudden there ain't no damn kids. We're going to choke off the damn supply. Why? You took off that. Now the American kids, boom, you get all them back home. There goes all the money. Guess what? Now you got to repay all that money. Why? Under whistleblower. Why? They receive those funds fraudulently. What does that mean? Every state has to repay all of it. All that Title IV money that you got, guess what? Every case, once they take and do the investigation, the audit, guess what? The state is now responsible for repaying every bit of it. Then they have to take and pay you and me. We take back this country because then we own everything. Property taxes stop. Why? You can't function. You can't get insurance. You can't exist. Why? You're all part of it. That includes your local, your city. You can sue your, this comes down to you have the option to sue your city, your county commission that paid these people to do all this stuff. Now everybody starts going, oh, wow, you're really talking. I'm not playing. You should have left us alone. You should have left us live constitutionally and then go to the realization that all these state codes and statutes and everything else are for businesses or for when you're operating commercially, not as a private person. We just live under the Constitution. And let's get all that clarified while we're at it. This country is heading for either martial law or civil war real fast. And I guarantee you one thing, it's funny that Tennessee is known as the volunteer state. Well, it looks like we stand up for what's right in the Constitution, maybe for the entire nation. So be it. But this will end. And Gen X will speak up and understand this. Y'all crazy, what you got to do against, the police and this, and that, and all the other sides. Do you realize what the American hunter, let alone the American veterans, outnumber any police force across the country? It's a joke. We outnumber any military force across the world in just 2 states with registered hunters. Oh, the people will wake up and they won't deal with this. They will burn it down and rebuild it if we have to. But right now, everything that's gone on and everything that's gone on in the past, it's time. I've heard other people use the term, it's time for a purge. It's time to clean house. It's time to take it back and show us what a real country is with a moral compass and knock this shit out. The stuff that Nick Shirley was dealing with, the stuff with California, all the people in this and that. You know what? Grab them people up, find them guilty of treason, this and that. And you know what? Hang them right at the damn state line and let everybody know. You turn on this country, you turn on this Constitution, understand the penalty is death. Now you're taking, oh, Gunner, that's too harsh. Go to another country. Do the same shit. Watch how long you live. They'll kill you. They will kill you in another country from stuff that we're letting. Drop connection there for a minute. I didn't mean to lose you. But guys, I hope this has been educational for you. But yeah, put the word out. Game on. I'm done. I'm done with this crap. I am absolutely over it. And now I've got questions. And one state, not all 50. So Jeremy, if you're still watching, work smarter, not harder. Why face all 50 when I can just knock out one and then get all 50 right after it? I don't have to face them in the courtroom. See, I can fight smarter, not harder. For everybody, for all you guys out there. I don't want to be the hero. I just want to see it burn down to where my children, future grandchildren, anything else and stuff like that ever have to deal with anything I've ever had to deal with in my lifetime with this crap. There's more to come. There's more to come with the case as it progresses. We'll keep you guys appraised of everything the best we can. Check us out. We are on, like I said, we're on Facebook Live. We're on Facebook Live. It should be. We're also on YouTube. We're on multiple channels. We're part of the CPS Breaking News Network. Let's see where else we're at. Gunning for CPS, my personal page on Facebook. Fight CPS has got it live. Let's see. Then you've got we're on Rumble. That's right. Go under Gunner OG, I believe is the tag there. Gunning for CPS, and it plays live there. It's brand new. On Twitch on CPS Punisher, it's their YouTube channels. Gunning for CPS, Tip and the Punisher. Check them out throughout the week. And Fight CPS, the personal show. That's the main producer. Don't forget to check out our other shows, especially Henry gets out there on Saturday nights for the ADA. So if you've got equal and the same, so if you guys want to learn about the ADA and a lot of information that's there, that's where you need to go. But guys, we're here to help. We're here to educate. But man, we're here to fight. We're here to get into the trenches. And right now, you know, when we sent the nuclear bombs over to Japan, we only sent 2 planes. Guess what, guys? 1 plane's already been sent. The Federal's been filed. Oh, wait till you see plane number 2. It's going to be fun. Oh, there's more to come. But once again, you can't tip your hand. You got to play smart, right? But remember that. Learn what you can to help each other. And listen, guys, the biggest thing, and I'm going to pause this for a second. I'm going to take this moment. This is truly a horrific thing to be put through psychologically, mentally, financially. When you deal with the family court system and CPS, it literally rips your soul out. The issue is with somebody like me, there's nothing left to break. It was just war and getting an education. I don't want to be the hero. I don't want to be the as people go, and I tell people a lot, especially in this movement of a complex called hero syndrome. It's where they want to be the hero. They want the spotlight. I don't. I just want to take and watch it burn and roast marshmallows and make s'mores. I want the kids to come home. Because I remember a day when I was a kid, you know, families were rough, this and that. We all had our issues with our families and so on and so forth, but we still had a sense of family, and I have watched it just erode to nothingness, to selfishness, to and like I said, the misconception of CPS is in your life, you must have done something wrong. No, we're dealing with a communist system. It's a socialist system. This is why it's a social service. Anything social service is a socialist system. Just, you know, equals 2. Once again, you can draw that from your own by definition. But guys, lift each other up a little bit, man. Do take some time for yourself. It's not easy. And some people, they break during this, man. Keep that in mind. You know, when some of this stuff go on, have compassion and understand when people are dealing with CPS or some of the things that they're dealing with. Oh, you're a bad parent. These are accusations. And let me tell you something, 90% of them to 98% of them are complete fabricated lies. Why? Because for true child abuse and child neglect to happen, doesn't happen in a civil courtroom. That is a criminal offense. And if you look at it, it's criminal code in your state, especially in Tennessee. It's criminal code. And they're not doing that. They're destroying families because they want a profit. They're going to make money for it. And once again, if they follow the rules, which they don't, they throw everything out the window, and it's a feelings only. And we're concerned. We're done this. Let me give you examples. They do things called forensic interviews. There are 2 types of interviews: forensic interviews and factual or factorial interviews. CPS doesn't use factorial or facts. They use suggestions and shoulda, coulda, woulda. That's why it's called a forensic. Oh, well, it's to look. Nope. Go look at the definition on the psychological books, Psychology Today, and any others, the definitions of them. One is on it could have happened, it should have, we think it's happened. Factorial means that there's just evidence to back it up, and they don't use that. But guys, thanks for joining me for this special edition. I hope you learned something. I hope you share the shit out of this to all the different groups. Thanks again, guys, for being there, because without you guys, we wouldn't be anything. And like I said, yeah, we are getting recognition. I've been reached out by several, like I said, you know, A lot of things are starting to snowball now. So things are getting big. But guys, thanks again. And we'll see you next week, next Sunday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. YouTube, all the other channels, Facebook Live, so on and so forth. Once again, we can't get on TikTok. Everybody says, well, why can't you get on TikTok, Connor? Well, I was banned for TikTok. For what? Misinformation. For doing what I'm doing on this show, education. Go figure. Why? It's the biggest platform. So if you guys have got a way to get this show out on TikTok, let me know. Reach out to me. Like I said, if you give permission, if you've got a TikTok and this is something you want to share on your own personal, reach out to me because I could probably add it. I've got a couple platforms I could do, but once again, they realize it's me. All of a sudden they come after me. But once again, that's up to you. But reach out to me. I'm on Facebook. Gunning for CPS is the show page on Facebook. Have a great week, man. We'll see you again next week. Yeah, share the hell out of this. Love on each other. Build each other up. Enjoy some sunshine. This is the time of year to where new growth and new life begins with spring. So we're going to have a hell of a year, man. And I'm anxious to get back to this question because, yeah, that's a little scary. Like what Jeremy was saying, wow, that could really change. Yeah, it'll change the world. It'll change the United States, all 50 states, because now it gives you something. Because like I said, it's not just like case law. This is an actual answer to a constitutional question, which means it applies to all 50 states. Appreciate you guys. See you again next week. And hey, find out who you can piss off this week with knowledge and education, but do it with a smile on your face. Have a great week.
Together we stay, no more broken past. Faith and hope, never too far. Return our kids, make them the stars. Stand up, fight for justice, we demand. Gunning for CPS off our land. For family truth with a strong hand. Time to rise, take a stand.